Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us to learn more about our 2023 Neighborhood Infrastructure Improvements Project here in Hastings. My name is Cody Matheson. I am the principal engineer on this project and will be managing things throughout the entire duration. So what I want to do with this video is essentially give you all of the details of the project and then end with outlining what you need to do next and generally what's next for this project. So leading off here with our project team, I've already introduced myself, but we're all working under our Public Works Director, City Engineer Ryan Stemsky. Bo Schutte is our engineering technician, who you will see out in the field this summer during construction. And Sam Schmidtke is our administrative assistant, who will be fielding calls and questions here from the office. Before I go too far into the presentation, I know you've likely found the website by making it to this presentation, but in case you want to see how to navigate to the project website from our homepage here at the City of Hastings, if you go to Residents and then hover down to Construction Updates under My Street, you will see a tab here for the 2023 Neighborhood Infrastructure Improvements. Otherwise, it'll be listed here under Current Major Projects. And this is where you will find all the additional project resources that I referenced: figures, design summaries, assessment info, things like that, as well as the link to complete the survey. So I'll jump right back into the presentation here, but just wanted to highlight that that's how you get back there, and there'll be construction updates there throughout the summer as well. So as far as a general project timeline, throughout 2022, we evaluated the infrastructure, prepared our preliminary design and cost estimates. And now that we're here in January of 2023, we are in our public input and feedback phase. So this is where we go to affected residents, and we want to hear from you before we eventually go to the City Council in February and March with our final recommendations to move forward with the project. And then a commonly asked question: when are we going to start? We think that construction will start more than likely sometime in late May, early June, and we are hoping to have the project wrapped up sometime in October of 2023. Where are we going to be working this year? So the main piece of this project is going to be Pleasant Drive from County Road 46 to 15th Street. But other streets that we're going to be working on as part of this project include Old Bridge Lane, Southview Place, 18th Court, Ridgewood Court, and Southview Drive from Pleasant Drive to Westview Drive. And there's going to be 2 levels of improvement taking place, one being a full reconstruction. That's where we rip up all of the curb, all of the pavement and base material, and put it all back new, and then a reclaim improvement where we are largely leaving the existing curb in place, replacing broken sections as needed, but primarily reclaiming the existing bituminous and aggregate base and creating a fully new pavement section only, but without ripping up all the curb and utilities. So you can see here highlighted on the map, our reclaimed streets are 18th Court, Ridgewood Court, Southview Drive in Place, and then Pleasant Drive south of the bridge. So as far as guiding documents that we use to arrive at what do we want to do with this project area, one thing that we rely on here in the city is our people movement plan. This was adopted by our city council in 2021. And if you look on this map here, that plan envisioned a multi-use trail from our Vermilion River Greenway all the way to 15th Street along Pleasant Drive. We also have identified a missing link of pedestrian facilities on Southview Drive between Pleasant Drive and Westview Drive. And we're also going to look at doing some enhanced crossings, for example, at Pleasant Park. So what do we have for existing conditions out on Pleasant Drive? We've currently got a 44-foot wide street that we look at as being excessively wide in terms of causing us high maintenance costs, safety concerns with speeding. This roadway has 5-foot sidewalks on both sides, carries about 4,000 vehicles a day, and only has 2 driveway accesses, and we really don't see much for parking demand out here. So those characteristics in conjunction with our people movement plan helped us establish our proposed road section. So what we are looking to do with Pleasant Drive is change this to a one-sided parking only along the west side. So this would result in about a 9-foot total reduction of the roadway surface. We would add that 10-foot trail that I mentioned along the west side of Pleasant Drive. We would have a 9-foot parking lane along the west side of the road and no parking on the east side of the road. Just to highlight that 9-foot parking lane, 15th Street, for example, which was completed over the last couple of years, has 7-foot parking lanes both sides. With going to one-sided parking, we wanted to make sure we had a little bit of a more extended parking lane. If we're only going to have it on one side, so that's where you see a 9-foot parking lane on the west side. So why did we want to put the trail on the west side is a question that we expect to get with this project. If you look here, a sample looking north at 22nd Street, you can see that the east side of Pleasant has significantly more conflicts if we were to put an expanded trail. More trees, more power poles, generally more impacts to the corridor. And with Pleasant Park being on the west side, it also made the most sense to put that trail along the west side of the road. So if you're wondering, what is a road that looks like this that you're proposing? Well, 10th Street East between the railroad tracks and our city dog park in front of Smead is a very similar corridor. You see it's got the 9-foot parking lane. It has 12 and 12.5-foot lanes where our lanes will be 11 feet. And we'll have a little bit bigger shoulder on that no parking side. We'll have a 4-foot shoulder instead of what's shown. But that helps give you a visual, for what we're looking to do with the Pleasant Drive area. So I'm going to jump out of the presentation again and kind of go street by street and show you the improvements that we're envisioning for the project. So beginning at Southview Drive and Southview Place, again, like I talked about, these are reclaimed streets, right? So we're only going to replace broken sections of curb, minimal utility replacements. This pink line here shows an area where we're looking to do some trenchless sanitary sewer rehabilitation. Some of these water valves shown in blue will be dug up. But again, that is for rehabilitation of the water system and rebolting. We are not going to be doing full depth excavation of the entire water or sewer system. The other big piece to touch on here along Southview Drive that I mentioned earlier is this extension of a new bituminous trail, an 8-foot wide bituminous trail along the north side of the road here, which really is the missing link to get folks from this Westview Southview Drive trail system to our Pleasant Drive trail system and tie in with that new trail and get folks grade separated off the road, because with this S curve here, we do not feel that this is a safe place for pedestrians to share the road with cars. Moving on to our other reclaimed streets of Ridgewood Court and 18th Court, very similar improvements to both of these. Again, a reclaim, spot repairing curb as needed, trenchless sanitary sewer lining, and rehabilitation of the water main valves shown in blue. Here is 18th Court, similar improvements looking at trenchless sewer lining and a reclaim improvement. Moving on to Old Bridge Lane, we're talking about a full reconstruction of Old Bridge Lane. So shown in green and shown in blue are full replacements of the sanitary sewer and water main systems and all of their services. And shown in orange, we've got some storm sewer and drainage improvements as well. The biggest change to Old Bridge Lane that is being proposed at this time is a 6-foot reduction of Old Bridge Lane. So shrinking the roadway down a little bit. Again, same idea as Pleasant Drive. Old Bridge Lane is excessively large for the traffic that it carries and its current parking needs. So we are looking to bring this from a 36-foot street to a 30-foot street. Parking would still be allowed on both sides, but this is more in line with similar streets and similar traffic that we have in town. And last but not least, the biggest part of our project, jumping into Pleasant Drive, starting at the south end. South of the bridge, as I mentioned, we will just be doing a reclaim improvement. But the big feature that I wanted to highlight here is we are coordinating with Dakota County at potentially installing a pedestrian underpass underneath Pleasant Drive that would be a feature of the future Dakota County Greenway Trail System. This would be a county-funded improvement that would actually take place at the same time as our project if this were to move forward, and I'll touch more on that later. Looking now at the Pleasant Drive corridor, as we look further north, we will be doing storm sewer and drainage enhancements, as well as replacing the entire old 1960s cast iron water main. We will be installing that 10-foot wide bituminous trail here shown in yellow. As we proceed north, you can see that this trail continues along the same path that the existing sidewalk does along the west side, but we would have that expanded trail system. Here at Pleasant Park, just north of there from roughly 20th Street to 18th, 17th Street, you can see that we are bringing the trail system in closer to the road. Reason for that is we want to avoid some of those established boulevard trees and minimize our impact to the project. And again, as you see, here is the northern extent of our project where we end up here finishing with those water main replacements. Shown in orange are those storm sewer replacements, and pink, we've got some trenchless sanitary sewer lining here on Pleasant Drive as well. So I'll jump back into the presentation here to show you a little bit more of a visual of what that pedestrian underpass might look like south of the bridge. This is not renderings of the actual one going in there, but just to get you some framework, this is a county project, 100% of costs will be covered by the county. But if installed as part of the larger picture that we've been talking about this trail on the west side of Pleasant Drive, some missing links being added, this is great for the pedestrian system of the area and the continuation of that Greenway project. And the last piece of scope of the project that I wanted to talk about is the expansion of the sidewalk on the west side of the bridge. If we were to continue with this trail, so there's a nice seamless experience from our new trail down to the Dakota County Greenway and underpass tunnel, we would look to match what was done on the east side by expanding the sidewalk and matching that fence that was installed there if feasible. We currently have a consultant analyzing the structural capacity of the bridge to make sure that it can bear that weight. So the last thing that I'm going to cover of the project details in general before we get into what's next is the assessments. So assessments here in Hastings per our policy are based on the special benefit to properties determined as the increase in property value attributed to our project, to the public improvement. So how we determine that that special benefit is we have a third-party appraiser. In this case, it was Patch and Messner valuation counselors, provided a recommendation for the special benefit for a typical property based on similar projects from the metro area, similar homes, and determine what is that increase in value that will result as a product of our project. So from there, we established a per lot rate based on each improvement and property type that we've got in the project from their recommendations. It's worth noting that corner lots are assessed 100% of the per lot rate for their short side frontage along an improved street. So if the short side of the corner is along an improved street, you pay the full assessment. But if there is improvement along the long side of a corner lot, that lot only pays 25% of that rate. And then we will not be assessing back lot frontage to a street as part of this project. So the proposed rates are shown here for our reconstruction streets for a standard single family home. That'd be $7,650. And for our reclaimed streets, $6,750 per lot. So again, just to clarify, corner lots are assessed 100% for the short side and 25% of the long. So if a corner lot only has improvement taking place along the long side, for example, they would only pay 25% of that rate, and then different combinations thereof, depending on what sides or if both sides front improved streets. So some commonly asked questions with assessments. First off, with timing, they will be sent out later this summer or early fall with the proposed interest rates and a huge amount of detail and helpful resources for you that will have everything you need. The first payment for assessments isn't due until spring of 2024. The payment options are on assessments. You can pay all or part of your assessment upfront before November 30th. And from there, either the entire amount or the remainder that you don't pay upfront are certified to your taxes, your property taxes, and levied over 10 years. So that's where that interest rate, like I said, comes into place, and that'll be detailed out later this fall. We do have assistance available for assessments. The first option that we recommend is abatement, which is a grant program through Dakota County that'll be sent with your mailing. The county determines eligibility based on income, and this covers all or part of assessment for folks. And the second option that we have is deferment. So certain categories of folks are eligible for that. And deferment, not to be confused with abatement, is essentially the delaying of the assessment payment. It is not that assessment would stay there and accrue interest under the deferment option. So assessments in total, as related to the total project cost, the total project right now is estimated to be about $4.2 million, with total private assessments coming in just under $450,000. So it's about 10.6% of the total project cost would be paid by assessments. So what are your next steps and next steps for the project? So again, I showed you the website. I encourage you to view all of those additional resources. And then the biggest thing you can do to help us out is fill out and return your project feedback and communication preferences survey. I'll touch more on that in a second. But if you still have questions after submitting that survey and watching these videos, if you would like to set up a one-on-one meeting with someone from the engineering team to discuss your comments and questions, please do so between now and February 1st. We can accommodate virtual meetings over Zoom, a phone call meeting, in-person meeting, whatever works best for you. We're flexible. We can do those outside of normal business hours as well, because we really want to get your feedback now so that we can keep the project on schedule and keep things moving. So again, your communication survey, after you've watched this video, after you've gone through the additional resources, fill out that form. It is available online on the website, which is preferred. There's a link there called Project Feedback and Communication Survey right at the top. You can click on that. Or if you'd rather fill it out by hand, you can fill out the physical form that was mailed to you and mail it back to us, or scan it and email it back to us as well. Watch your mailbox as more notices and information for us will be coming in the next few months. Notices about hearings and throughout the project. So we will have a construction kickoff packet once we have opened our bids. So expect that sometime around April and May. And if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to call. Our contact info is provided there, and we look forward to working with you. If you have any questions, let us know. We hope to have a great project. Thank you.